In the heart of Windsor Great Park, behind towering gates and ancient oak trees, a battle is brewing. Not with swords or armies, but with something far more powerful in the modern age: family, reputation, and the future of the British monarchy. Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, is facing an ultimatum that could see him lose the one thing he's been fighting desperately to keep: his home. The clock is ticking, the deadline is looming, and King Charles III isn't backing down. This is the story of the Royal Lodge eviction crisis, a tale of fallen princes, family rifts, and a king who must choose between his brother and the crown. Royal Lodge. Just saying the name conjures images of grandeur and privilege. This isn't just any house. It's a 30-room mansion nestled in the private grounds of Windsor Great Park. Cream-colored walls, manicured gardens spanning 98 acres, and a history stretching back centuries. For over 2 decades, this has been Prince Andrew's sanctuary, his fortress, his home. Andrew moved into Royal Lodge in 2004 with his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, affectionately known as Fergie. Even after their divorce in 1996, they've maintained this unusual living arrangement. 2 people, bound by their past, their daughters, and now, by a crisis neither of them saw coming. But here's where the fairy tale crumbles. Royal Lodge isn't just expensive to live in. It's astronomically expensive to maintain. We're talking millions of pounds in upkeep, repairs, and renovations. The kind of money that requires a steady income, a royal role, or both. In 2019, everything changed. Andrew's disastrous BBC Newsnight interview about his friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein sent shockwaves through the palace walls. His explanations about Pizza Express and Woking, about not being able to sweat, became instant fodder for ridicule and outrage. The damage was catastrophic. Within days, Andrew stepped back from public duties. Patronages were stripped away. His military titles, gone. The HRH title, no longer used in official capacity. Prince Andrew went from working royal to nothing. No job, no income, no official role. But he still had Royal Lodge, and he was determined to keep it. When Charles ascended the throne in September 2022, he inherited more than a crown. He inherited problems that included his younger brother living in a massive mansion he couldn't afford while refusing to leave. Charles has a vision for the monarchy: smaller, more efficient, more financially accountable. He calls it the slimmed-down monarchy. Fewer royals on the payroll, less excess, more transparency. And Royal Lodge? It doesn't fit that vision, not even close. Sources close to the palace say Charles made his position clear early on. There was another property available, Frogmore Cottage. You might recognize that name. It's where Prince Harry and Meghan Markle once lived. 5 bedrooms, fully renovated, more than adequate for Andrew and Fergie. Charles's offer was simple: move to Frogmore Cottage. It's still royal, still prestigious, just smaller, more appropriate. Not just no, absolutely not. According to insiders, Andrew views the suggestion as a humiliation, a demotion, a public acknowledgement that he's been downgraded in the royal hierarchy. But there's more to this than pride. Andrew signed a 75-year lease on Royal Lodge back in 2003. He's poured millions of his own money into renovations, money he claims gives him the right to stay. The lease is ironclad, his lawyers argue. The king can't just evict him. When Andrew wouldn't leave voluntarily, Charles changed tactics. If you can't force someone out, you can make staying unbearable. In April 2024, reports emerged that Charles had taken a drastic step. He cut off Andrew's annual allowance. We're talking about approximately £1 million a year, money Andrew relied on to maintain Royal Lodge and fund his lifestyle. The message was clear: no money, no mansion. But Andrew had one card left to play. In an almost cinematic twist, Andrew claimed he'd secured his own funding. Sources reported he'd found private financial backers, friends, perhaps, or supporters who still believed in him. The exact source remains murky, shrouded in the same secrecy that protects royal finances. Palace officials were reportedly stunned. Some were skeptical. Was this real money or a desperate bluff? The standoff intensified. Then came the infrastructure issues. Royal Lodge, for all its grandeur, is aging. Paint peeling, repairs needed, structural concerns mounting. The Crown Estate, which technically owns the property, requires the leaseholder to maintain it to specific standards. Andrew's lease obligates him to keep Royal Lodge in good repair. Failed to do so, and he'd be in breach of contract. That's grounds for eviction. As 2024 progressed, reports suggested Andrew was struggling. The mansion was deteriorating. The costs were mounting, and the pressure from the palace was relentless. By the end of 2024 and into January 2025, rumors began swirling of a deadline. An ultimatum. Anonymous sources spoke of final notices and last chances. The eviction deadline was looming. Here's where this story gets complicated, because in the court of public opinion, there's no clear villain or hero. On one hand, you have those who support King Charles. They argue he's doing what any responsible monarch should do. Why should taxpayers indirectly support a disgraced prince living in luxury? Why should Andrew get special treatment when he's contributed to damaging the monarchy's reputation? It's about accountability, say the king's supporters. It's about modernizing an institution that's desperately trying to remain relevant. But then there's the other side, Andrew's defenders. And yes, he still has them. Paint a different picture. They see a man who's been tried in the court of public opinion without his day in actual court. Remember, Andrew settled a civil lawsuit with Virginia Giuffre, but admitted no liability. No criminal charges were ever filed. Is it fair, they ask, to strip away everything from someone based on allegations and association? And then there's the human element that complicates everything. Fergie, as the British public knows her, has been through her own scandals. The toe-sucking photos, the cash for access sting. She was once as scorned as Andrew. But in recent years, something shifted. Her cancer diagnosis in 2023 and 2024 softened public perception. She appeared vulnerable, resilient, sympathetic. She's been open about her health struggles, her gratitude for early detection, her determination to survive. And through it all, Andrew stood by her side. Now, as the eviction deadline approaches, people wonder, is Charles really going to throw his cancer-surviving former sister-in-law out on the street? What kind of message does that send? Royal commentators note the impossible position this puts Charles in. Show mercy to Andrew, and he looks weak, hypocritical about his slimmed-down monarchy vision. Force the eviction, and he looks cruel, cold-hearted toward his own family. There's no winning move, only different ways to lose. So where are we now, in January 2025? The deadline is here, or approaching, or perhaps already passed. Palace sources have been notably vague about specific dates, adding to the mystery and tension. What we know is this: Andrew remains at Royal Lodge. Fergie remains with him, and King Charles has not publicly backed down from his position. Behind the scenes, negotiations are rumored to be ongoing. Some reports suggest compromise solutions being explored. Perhaps Andrew could stay, but in a reduced capacity, maybe limited to part of the property. Could Fergie's health situation have bought them more time? The silence from official palace channels is deafening. Royal experts note that the family is trying desperately to keep this private. The last thing they need is another public royal drama playing out in the media. After Harry and Meghan's departure, after the accusations and counter-accusations, the institution can't afford more family warfare. But privacy is nearly impossible when you're living in a 30-room mansion that's become a symbol of royal excess and entitlement. There's something deeply Shakespearean about this whole situation, isn't there? A king who must choose duty over family. A fallen prince clinging to the last vestige of his former glory. A palace that's become both sanctuary and prison. And all of it playing out in the shadow of a crown that's weathered centuries of drama, but has never quite faced anything like the modern media age. The question everyone's asking isn't just, will Andrew leave Royal Lodge? It's, what does this say about the monarchy itself? As this standoff continues, one thing becomes clear: there are no easy answers. If Andrew somehow manages to stay at Royal Lodge, King Charles's authority looks diminished. His vision of a slimmed-down monarchy becomes a talking point rather than reality. The public sees a family that can't even manage its own household, let alone claim to serve as an example for the nation. But if Andrew is forcibly removed, if we see images of moving trucks outside Royal Lodge, of Andrew and Fergie departing their home of 2 decades, the optics are equally problematic. A king evicting his brother, a cancer survivor displaced, the human cost of institutional reform. And let's not forget, Prince Andrew's daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, are watching their father's humiliation play out in real time. They're reported to be close to both their parents. How does this family heal from such a public, painful conflict? Perhaps the most unsettling question is the one nobody's asking out loud. What happens when the deadline passes? If Andrew refuses to leave and has genuinely secured funding to maintain the property, can Charles actually force him out legally? Would this end up in court? A king suing his own brother? Can you imagine the spectacle of royal lawyers arguing over property rights while the world watches? Or does someone finally blink? Does Andrew accept defeat and move quietly? Does Charles decide family peace is worth more than principle? Right now, behind those towering gates, in that 30-room mansion surrounded by 98 acres of Windsor Great Park, Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson are facing the biggest challenge of their complicated lives. A home isn't just walls and rooms. It's memory, dignity, identity. Losing Royal Lodge means losing more than just a building. It means accepting a new reality, a diminished status, a permanent mark of fall from grace. The deadline is here. The pressure is mounting, and the entire world is watching to see who breaks first. Will it be the stubborn prince who refuses to surrender his last symbol of royal prestige? Or the determined king who's trying to save a monarchy from itself?